Hey guys, Danny Johnson here. Today we're going to be recharging the air conditioning system in my 2000 Chevy Silverado. And before we get started, I want to talk about a few things that might be causing your AC unit not to be working properly in your car. And maybe you could do some good diagnostics first and maybe find a problem. One of the main things, which was the case in this truck, is a loss of refrigerant. So it uses the R134 and it's a compressed gas, so if you have any leaks in your system, then eventually it will all leak out and your AC compressor is just going to be compressing hot air, and that's what was happening. A telltale sign of this is what was happening with my truck. The AC compressor you could hear turning on and off, on and off, on and off. And it was actually turning on as it should, and what I was hearing is it was turning itself off as the pressure was building too high. And so anyway, that's one thing you can think about. If you hear a clicking all the time where the AC compressor is turning on and then turning back off and turning on and turning back off, then that could be a sign that you're running low on refrigerant. One of the other things is that these AC compressors are driven by the drive belt, just like the same belt that goes around to power your alternator, your water pump, power steering, some of your other accessories. And so on some cars like my wife's G35 Infinity and the truck that we're actually working on today, it has its own belt for only the air conditioning system. So you can experience an air conditioning failure and the rest of the car appears to be fine. And that was happening to me. I was driving back from Lake Powell and noticed that all of a sudden the AC went warm, but the rest of the truck was operating fine. And I had kind of known what was happening, as the belt that drives the AC unit had jumped off, and it actually had split too. And I think it might have even split because the AC compressor was turning on and off so frequently, the jolting might have broke that belt. So anyway, that's something to look at. There's also relays for your air conditioning system, so just look for the fuse or the relay and pull it out and make sure that it's working. But most commonly, if it's an older car, it's most likely that the refrigerant has lost its value or has leaked out. So I'll show you today how to pressurize the system using a kit that you can just buy at Walmart, and we'll see how it goes from there. This is kind of a do-at-your-own risk kind of thing. You're dealing with a high-pressure system, and you don't want to over-pressurize the system, so you want to make sure you buy one of these kits that has the gauge on it too, and then try to find some leaks. Some of these systems, like the one that I'm using to refill, comes with a stop leak, and so if there are any small holes, it should plug them up, but there's controversy on that as well, whether it can foul up your system. So anyway, I thought I'd give it a try and show you how it is that you add refrigerant to your air conditioning. So this is the brand that I bought. It's called Arctic Freeze, and this is available at Walmart along with some other brands that they have. What I liked about this one is, as some of the other ones, it had a gauge on it, and so it gives you a good range on here as to what's too much pressure, what's low, what's filled, and so on. So what you want to do is shake this product up a lot and then turn your air conditioning on full blast, and I'll show you these steps as we're doing it, and then basically get a pressure reading and then add the refrigerant and watch the pressure gauge to make sure that you stay within the range and you're not over pressurizing the system. Something important to note is there is a chart on the back that shows what pressures you should fill it to according to the temperature outside, which would be the ambient air temperature. So anyway, we'll get started and I'll show you step by step how to apply this product, and hopefully we'll have some cold air. Okay, so we're going to turn the car on. We're going to turn our settings to full max air conditioning. Make sure that it's on here. Then we're going to pop the hood. See what we can find underneath the hood. So what you want to do is locate the AC compressor. one's right here, and you want to make sure that the belt's still connected. And as you hear, it's turning on and off. So we know that the belt's turning it and that it is functioning. So next you're going to find your AC components here with these metal tubes going through, and they have caps on them. Now there's a bigger one and a smaller one. The smaller one is the one we're actually going to use, and that's the only one that this will fit anyway. So we're going to go ahead on this system that they've given us. First off, I'll show you it has a gauge on it so we don't over pressurize the system. And then on this end it has the attachment where you pull back, set it on, and release. We'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're all hooked up here. And we're getting a pressure rating that it's in the high side. There we go. So it's going high, and that's when the compressor's kicking on, and as you see it then loses the pressure and goes down. So that's what means we're low on this refrigerant. So next, in order to know what pressure we need to fill it to, we're going to check our temperature, which is 99 degrees out here. So we're going to look at this chart that's on the side of the can, and it's going to show us that at 95 degrees you want 50 to 55, and for 100 degrees you want 50 to 55 psi. So we're looking for 50 to 55 psi is what we're going to add on this. Once again, we're looking here and noticing that the pressure's going high, the condenser kicks on, and it's trying to make the system work. So next we're going to screw in this end to the actual can, and then the can itself has a trigger that we're going to push down on. So we're going to remove the cap here to expose the trigger. So once this is hooked up, we'll just be pushing this down to add the refrigerant. So we'll go ahead and attach this. So now we have this hooked up, and as we dispense the product into it, we're going to be shaking the can, turning it 3 o'clock, turning it 12 o'clock position, just getting it to work here. So we'll start adding this in. Shake it up. See if it starts to hold. So now we've noticed, instead of the pressure being all the way to the top and every time the compressor kicks on it dropping down, there's actually some refrigerant in there for the system to work with. So now it's actually holding the pressure steady, and you can hear the compressor is still on and not turning on and turning off. Because as it was turning on and off, it was regulating it due to it over-pressurizing. We're going to continue our target point, it was saying, was the 50 to 55 psi, so we're almost there. We're just continuing to add this refrigerant. As you push it on, it overpressurizes, so you just push in and then let go. Push in, let go. And we're getting there pretty close, and it feels like the can's just about empty. Getting there. With pretty much this entire can, we're getting pretty close. There we are, 50. I don't don't know if I want to try to go to the 55 level yet. But I can definitely hear that the AC compressor is working better now and not kicking on and off every few seconds. So here we are pretty much right on our 55 PSI mark. And inside the truck, it's actually coming out nice and cool. So once again, you want to make sure that your actual compressor works. Okay, so this is sat here for a few minutes, right where we want it. The AC compressor is doing its job and not kicking on and off 100 times, so we're going to disconnect. See if you have anything coming out of there. You know, it feels like this has I can feel pressure on that, so I wonder if this is just a bad valve and that's how it's leaking out. I can feel it. So here we are driving around and it's coming out nice and cool. So I'm a little excited about that. How long it lasts. You want to make sure you don't over pressurize your system either. And if there is a leak, it may eventually run out again. But in this case, it's working pretty good, and I think there might be a leak on the valve stem where I was adding this in.